Hello, everyone, and welcome to a special presentation by Arc of Justice PA. It's election night 2023. I'm Jordan Roan. Thanks so much for tuning in and joining us. And right off the bat, we have results coming in across the Commonwealth, starting off with the Supreme Court race. And I will just preface this by saying these are a lot of mail-in votes that are being counted first. As you can see on your screen, Daniel McCaffrey, the Democrat, is leading right now with 3/4 of the vote. However, as you can see, 14% of the vote is in, not nearly enough to make any projections at this time. We know that mail-in votes skew towards the Democrat, which is why we obviously have to hold off on making any sort of assumptions at this point. But these results are going to start trickling in more and more, and we're going to be able to make some better determinations as the night progresses. On the bottom of your screen, you can see a live ticker. Those are results as they are coming in, up to the minute, accurate information. So we have the Supreme Court race here. We'll now go to the Superior Court race. As you can see on your screen, once again, 13% of the vote is in. Way too early to call anything here, but the mail-in votes are good. It's good news right now for the Democratic candidates, Jill Beck and Tamika Lane. As you can see, Jill Beck coming in at 40% of the vote, or just about there. Tamika Lane, 35.98%, and Maria Batista, Harry Smale Jr., they are the Republicans running for the Superior Court, and they are trailing significantly with these mail-in votes that have come in. Now, we're able to take a little bit closer of a look to see exactly where these votes are coming from. And right there, as you can tell, Allegheny County is providing a large chunk of votes. And of course, Jill Beck is from Allegheny County, so we would be expecting her to be doing pretty well there. In the next race, we'll come back to that in just a second. 40% of the vote is in from Allegheny, I should add. 40% of the vote. That's a substantial number, which will do good for the Democratic candidates. Let's go to the Commonwealth Court race at this time. Once again, this one is very much in line with the Supreme Court race, the two-person race with Dan McCaffrey and Carolyn Carluccio. This is the Commonwealth Court race. Matt Wolf, the Democrat, against Megan Martin, the Republican. And Matt Wolf with 3/4 of the vote there. Once again, for those of you just tuning in, the mail-in votes are the ones that are being counted first. And we know that a substantial portion, 40% of the vote from Allegheny County is in. And as you can see there, Matt Wolf, with 44% of the vote from Allegheny County, has just about 3/4 of all ballots cast. So good news there if you're the Democratic candidates, but clearly too early to determine how this race is going to go. These judicial races, extremely important, and a lot is on the line, and we've been talking about it for weeks here at Arc of Justice. You've seen it across the Commonwealth if you've been following the media or any sort of political news. The amount of money that has been spent on the Supreme Court race is record-setting, through the roof. Over $16.5 million has been spent on the Supreme Court race. No one has ever seen anything like it. An absorbent amount of money. But we'll get back to that race in a bit, because the thing that we want to talk about now is the historic news that is coming out of Philadelphia. And we're going to take you there right now to show you what has taken place in a certain call that has been made from the Philadelphia mayoral race. And there you have it on screen right now. For the first time in the history of the city of Philadelphia, a woman has been elected mayor. It took them 100 mayors to get to. However, Cheryl Parker is the next mayor of Philadelphia, and it's a tremendous accomplishment. As you can see, we have 23% of the vote in from Philadelphia, Cheryl Parker, with an 82.6% of the vote. Cheryl Parker wins handedly and easily. She defeats Republican David O. and once again, the first woman to hold the office of mayor of Philadelphia. Congratulations to Mayor-elect Cheryl Parker. So we will continue to monitor the results as they come in. It is 9:07 p.m. We're live across multiple social media platforms for your viewing experience, for you to stay up to date on all things election 2023 results. So we will return as soon as we get some more vote in. And we're going to go back at this time and show you the judicial races. And there's the Supreme Court race back on your screen. Only 16% of the vote is in for that Supreme Court race. And it's going to trickle in. It's going to come a little bit slow during the early part of this 9 o'clock hour. As we all know, polls just closed at 8 o'clock. And I know how hard a lot of those poll workers are working right now, literally driving the ballots to all sorts of areas across the Commonwealth. Rural, urban, suburban, major cities. It's a lot of work. So kudos to all of those folks out there who are putting in the effort on the ground and doing some of the nitty-gritty to make our democracy function, to make things go the way they should. 16% of the vote in right now on the judicial races. We'll return when we get a little bit more information on what is happening and as we get real Election Day votes coming in. We'll be right back after this. Thanks so much for tuning in, and be sure to share so all your friends can be informed about what's going on across Pennsylvania here tonight. Thanks so much, and we will be right back. Hey there, everyone. Welcome back. I'm going to step in here and give a quick little update on the Supreme Court race that is happening tonight across Pennsylvania. The votes have already been cast, and they are now currently being counted. There has been a little bit of an update for you. As you can see on your screen, it's a map of Pennsylvania. There are certain parts of the state that will allow us to gain a better understanding of how things are going to shake out whenever it's all said and done. And a tweet just popped up on screen from the Elections Daily folks who have been covering this race. And I'm going to go now and put that on screen. This is a screenshot that was just posted about 2 minutes ago from Elections Daily. And they write, in Pennsylvania, Cambria County is fully reporting with Republican Carolyn Carluccio winning it by 48%. Donald Trump won this county by 38%. So this is a great result for the GOP in a county that is typically more Dem down ballot. That's from Elections Daily. We'll go now and zoom in on Cambria County, and as we can see on the Decision Desk HQ website, Cambria County is not fully updated. I'll go and check the Pennsylvania website now and see if the official state return is up yet from Cambria County. And let's see here. Yes, Carolyn Carluccio currently at 73.84% of the vote. Daniel McCaffrey, 26.16% of the vote. Now, I will say, and I'll pull up the screen here so you can all see what I'm looking at. This is from the Pennsylvania website. This is where they post the actual county results. Cambria County. So as you can see here, no mail-in ballots have seemingly been counted yet. So I'm going to try to find out if I can clarify. Has Cambria County reported 100% with mail-in ballots or without? Because, of course, what you see on screen here is Carolyn Carluccio having a monster night in Cambria County, which is one of those counties you want to look at and say, by how much of a margin is the Republican winning by? We know the Republican's going to win these rural counties in central Pennsylvania, but what is the margin? And for those who are just joining us, I'm going to post the screenshot again. This is from Elections Daily. They just posted an interesting statistic saying that Carolyn Carluccio, with all votes being counted, allegedly, has won Cambria County by 48%. So if Trump won the county by 38% just 3 years ago, that would certainly be maybe a cause for concern if you're looking at it from a Democratic perspective. The one thing, though, I will say to the Elections Daily folks who are doing a great job with sorting through the statistics is that, yes, Cambria County might be electing certain individuals who are Democrats. Frank Burns is the state representative from Cambria County. But to claim, as they do in this tweet, that this is a county that typically elects Democrats down the ballot, I wouldn't say that is necessarily the case. I think in the past 10 years, that is not fully accurate. 15, 20, 30 years, of course that would be considered accurate. But at this point, I don't think that that's totally on par with what we know about Cambria County in the rural parts of Pennsylvania. So continuing to monitor everything that I'm seeing on social media, continuing to monitor the statistics that are coming in. I do have a tweet that just popped up here from Jillian McGoldrick, who is a reporter covering the race. She states in a brief interview with the Inquirer, Carluccio said she's proud of the campaign that she ran. Quote, "We were strong, we kept our head high, and I was consistent the entire time that I'm going to uphold the law, and now it's in the hands of the people of the Commonwealth." That's a tweet by Jillian McGoldrick that just was posted right now. We're going to take you back at this point and show you the election results from Decision Desk HQ. This is the website that, the primary website that I'm using to show you what's happening across the Commonwealth. And as you can see, we do have an update here when it comes to the state Supreme Court race, the one that has over $16.5 million spent on it, on a state Supreme Court race. Daniel McCaffrey's lead is now starting to shrink just a little bit. 4 percentage points he's gone down. He's now at 69% of the vote. Carluccio, 30% of the vote. Folks out there might be wondering, this looks like it's a landslide victory for McCaffrey, correct? And I'm going to just say, not so fast, my friends. As much as we at Arc of Justice would be agreeable with that, I'm going to show you Allegheny County. So take a look on your screen right there. Allegheny County, I'm going to highlight it for you. They already have 50% of the vote recorded. So they've already put, right there, as you can see, 201,000 votes. They've already sent that to the state. So that's already being counted in the grand scheme of things. And we know Allegheny County is heavily favoring the Democrat. He has 69% of the vote in Allegheny County alone. We also know that a lot of these counties were reporting the mail-in ballots first. They open those first. So I just want to be very careful to say what you see on your screen looks promising for Daniel McCaffrey in the state Supreme Court race, but it's very, very early in the night, 9:23 p.m. live as you're watching this now. So we have to continue just sitting and waiting to see what will happen. I do see a new tweet that just got posted about this race. Carolyn Carluccio says, quote, this is from a tweet from Peter Hall, PA, who writes, got a few minutes to talk with Carluccio at her election night event. I've asked her about the impact of abortion on the race, and she said, quote, it played way too much of a role. Very interesting tweet there by Peter Hall, PA. And as we all know, abortion became the main argument from the Democratic side, from the Political Action Committee side, who were pushing all of these commercials out there late saying, Carolyn Carluccio, too extreme, too radical. That's the stance that they took to try to win this race. Carluccio, Republicans, their PACs, they, on the other hand, said Daniel McCaffrey was too soft on crime, that he may have had some ethical concerns. So there was a lot of mudslinging, as is typical in a race like this, but for a state Supreme Court seat to have over $16.5 million spent on it, that is quite simply wild. We just got an update, as you can see on your screen. Let's take another closer look at this. In the state Supreme Court race, 22% of the vote is in. Very early still, but Dan McCaffrey just lost another 5% of the vote. Carolyn Carluccio is gaining on him. Why is that? Well, if you've been watching for a couple minutes, look what just popped up on our screen. Cambria County's votes and a couple other of these red counties are starting to report. There it is. 100% of the vote is in. Carolyn Carluccio has won Cambria County with nearly 3/4 of the votes. That's a substantial number of votes, not comparable to Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, and some of those counties along the southeast part of Pennsylvania. But Carolyn Carluccio, if she wants to defeat Daniel McCaffrey, she has to overwhelmingly win some of these rural counties, and we'll see what happens. Okay, at this point, let's see here. We have Gene McLaughlin, Go Carbon County. Thanks so much for watching, Jeannie. And if you want to go ahead and like or share, and you can let everyone know that you are tuning in, and go ahead and leave some comments, and I will put them on screen for you, assuming that they are appropriate to put on screen. So right now we have not too much of an update quite yet. Dan McCaffrey still leads it 64-35, and these counties are just going to keep on trickling the numbers in, and we will see what happens. Before we go to a break, I do want to point out that we have some very exciting races that are taking place in Allegheny County. Allegheny County has this race taking place. It's the Sarah Innamorato versus Joe Rocky case. The county executive candidates are going at it against each other, and this is a race that's very unique because there were some polls that were released recently showing that the Republican Joe Rocky was coming within about 3 or 4 points of the Democrat, which in a county like Allegheny would be quite shocking, to say the least. We also have the Allegheny County District Attorney race. That's between the Democrat Matt Dugan and the Republican Steve Zappala. However, the Republican Steve Zappala is the incumbent, the current district attorney who lost the Democratic nomination, now running as a Republican. This is a very interesting race, so what better time than the present to give you an update on those races. Let's pull up the screen now. We will be going to WTAE to provide us with the election update. As you can see, 38% of the vote being recorded. Sarah Innamorato, the Democrat, leads Joe Rocky 56.75% to 43.25%. So she's up 13 percentage points in Allegheny. Let's take a look at the bottom of your screen. That's the district attorney race that I just spoke of. Matt Dugan, the Democrat, is leading, but not by much. 5 percentage points he is up against the incumbent Steve Zappala. 52.7 to 47.3. Only 38% of the vote is in. Too close to call at this time. Too close to call. So let's take a look and see if we have any more update from some of these state Supreme Court and Commonwealth Court and Superior Court races. And give me 1 second. We do have a comment from Christine. Christine, thank you so much for submitting that, and I will be heading to Venango at this time to give you a closer look at what's going on there. There you go, Christine. Venango County, Daniel McCaffrey leading 69% to Carolyn Carluccio's 30%. Only 18% of the vote is in at this time. Knowing Venango, we might be able to surmise that we have a lot of mail-in ballots that have been counted. Venango may have opened up the mail-in ballots first and started counting those and published those to the state. Only 2,369 votes have been actually counted at this time, so that probably does indicate that it's a lot of mail-in votes. I'll keep an eye on Venango County for you, though, Christine, to see what's going on there, because every county matters. It's not just the ones with the most people there. It's the one, every county plays a role, because if you are, for instance, let's go back to Cambria County, like we talked about earlier. Cambria County already reported 100% of their votes, and Carolyn Carluccio had a good night in Cambria County. I think it's a tough pill to swallow, but it's just one county. From the Democratic perspective, it's just one county, but Carolyn Carluccio did what she needed to do there if she's going to win this race. Way too early to determine how this is all going to play out. We do not know. However, as more votes come in, and they will be coming in, they'll be coming in a lot quicker than you think, we'll be here to cover it. Let's go down to the Commonwealth Court race real quick, because I know that every one of these races is important. The Commonwealth Court, Matt Wolf leads 63 to Megan Martin's 36. 24% of the vote is in. Too close to call, too early to call, because this indicates to me that there's a lot of mail-in votes out there. I want to check what is Philadelphia reporting. Okay, 31% of Philadelphia's votes are in. 57% of Allegheny, Pittsburgh's votes are in. So right there you're getting a lot of blue county votes have been cast. Erie is coming in at 27%. But this is interesting from Erie. 27% of the vote in. Matt Wolf, 77% of the vote. So once again, that to me says this has to probably be a mail-in ballot first county. Christine's commenting. Thank you so much once again, Christine. And I appreciate you tuning in to Arc of Justice live stream Election Night 2023. Let's scroll out here. So we saw Erie. Any other counties of importance? Center County. 41% of the vote in Center County. 65% for Matt Wolf. That is a positive for the Democrats. Center County, for the presidential election years, typically is teetering on the 50-50 line. You could say it's tilts blue. But when I'm looking here at the screen, seeing that Matt Wolf has 65% of the vote in Center County, with 41% reporting, that's a positive sign for the Democrats. I want to compare that to, let's check out what Dan McCaffrey is doing in the same county. Okay, 63.90, 63.90, 65.47. Okay, so this is another interesting point. Dan McCaffrey is actually trailing Matt Wolf in Center County. 2 percentage points less. That might not seem like a big deal, but every vote counts. Every single percentage point counts, as we all know. So Matt Wolf has 2% more votes than Dan McCaffrey does in the exact same county. So keep an eye on that. As we know, and I'm going to pull up on screen now something that I think is very important to see, and I'll try to clean up the screen just a little bit here. Let's show this on screen now. I know it's hard to see. It's very small print, but these are all of the judicial races and the election results from the past, well, since 2017. So as you can see on your screen there, 2021 on the left-hand side of your screen. What do you notice there? That's just 2 years ago, and that was a year where Republicans dominated. Democrats only won one judicial seat that year. Only one. And there were 4 up for grabs. So it was not a good year 2 years ago for the Democrats when it comes to judicial races. Take a look at the middle part of your screen. Up at the top, right here, this is 2019's Superior Court race. There was only one election that year for the judicial bench seats. And there, hey, what do you know? Daniel McCaffrey. He ran in 2019. He won in 2019. He has name recognition. But that was before $16.5 million started getting thrown around, and a lot of mudslinging was out there on the airwaves recently. So 2019, there was a split. Democrats and Republicans, they both won. Look at 2017 now. So 2017 is right here, and up here, 2017. Republicans won the Supreme Court seat. On the Superior Court, Democrats did really well. They won 3 of the 4 seats. And then on the Commonwealth Court, they split. Republicans won 1, Democrats won 1 as well. So what is that telling me? That tells me that you should be expecting the unexpected. I think we all should be expecting the unexpected. With these judicial races, you really don't know what you're going to get. But I think it's safe to say that don't be surprised if Republicans and Democrats are splitting at the end of the night. For there to be a sweep would be really unprecedented in a state like this, in this Commonwealth. I think it's safe to say that we're going to see some votes being split across party lines. Let's go back to the main screen. 27% of the vote is in. Dan McCaffrey at 62.5%. Matt Wolf, 62.7%. So across the Commonwealth, they're running just about even. Here's the Superior Court race. Jill Beck leading right now, 33.5% of the vote. Tamika Lane, 29.9%. And the two Republicans are trailing by at least 10 percentage points. 25% of the vote is in on that race. And let's take a look. Allegheny County, 63% of the vote is in. That's the home of Jill Beck. She's doing well there as expected. So a lot of votes coming from the blue county. Let's take Philadelphia, 30% of the vote is in. Democrats clearly doing well. What's going on here in the Harrisburg region? Harrisburg is at 22% reporting. Democrats doing well there. Cumberland County, which is becoming more blue every single year. 27% of the vote is in. Democrats doing well. It's just still too early to tell how many votes are coming in as mail-in ballots and how many are coming in as Election Day ballots. We don't know the answer to that just yet. But we will continue to track this, and I will be right back as soon as we have more updated numbers from these races. Tonight, it's election night in Pennsylvania. I'm Jordan Roan with Arc of Justice, and glad to be bringing you up to the minute coverage of all that is happening in election world here tonight. Thanks so much. We'll be right back momentarily. Sorry about that, folks. I'm Jordan Roan with Arc of Justice PA. Thanks so much for tuning in. It's election night in Pennsylvania. And as you can see on your screen, we have several key races to watch in the Commonwealth. And the big one is the Supreme Court race with the Democrat Daniel McCaffrey and the Republican Carolyn Carluccio. And 36% of the vote is in. 1.1 million votes have been counted. And we have not much more to add to the conversation because, as you can see, counties like Pittsburgh dumping a lot of votes in here. 70% of the vote from Pittsburgh is in, heavily Democratic. We have Philadelphia coming in with 37%. That's a lot of votes. So some of these Democratic heavy strongholds, they're making the Democratic votes look a little inflated right now. So we're just going to continue standing by, waiting, and watching as more votes trickle in. However, we do have some very interesting updates to give thanks to and courtesy of Elections Daily. I'm going to bring that website up right now so that you're all able to see what I'm seeing, which is interesting data points that they have to share. So on your screen here is Elections Daily, and I'm going to go to their main page now and show right here, Lebanon County, PA, fully reporting Carolyn Carluccio wins by 28 percentage points. However, Donald Trump won this by 32 percentage points. So if you're a Republican, that's not good news for you. You need to be running and hitting the same sort of marks, the same markers that Donald Trump did if you want to win this race. Let's go to another tweet that they posted. Jefferson County. Carolyn Carluccio wins Jefferson County by 54 percentage points. Donald Trump, he won it by 59. So as Elections Daily writes, we're going to find out exactly who's going to win this thing when we get all the votes in. However, when you see these little indicators from some of these smaller rural counties and you use them as comparisons to what has happened in the past, aka Donald Trump in 2020, that's when you're able to see, is there something really going on here? Is this something that either party should be concerned about? So there's two tweets, and it looks like Elections Daily just posted another one. Northumberland County. This is a big county. This is an important county. And they've just delivered good news for Republicans in Pennsylvania. So Carolyn Carluccio wins Northumberland County by 42%, and that is 4 percentage points better than Donald Trump did. So I just talked about two indications that showed good signs for the Democrats, and now here's an indication that, hey, Republicans in Northumberland County, which is on the eastern side of the state, where you really need, that's very consequential part of the state, this is a good sign for Carolyn Carluccio. So we're going to continue to monitor the Elections Daily website. They're going through and kind of sifting through the data and making these comparisons, which is very, very helpful. Here's another one that just came in from Elections Daily. Lackawanna and Allegheny are both in, and Democrat Dan McCaffrey is outrunning Biden by about 10% in both counties. That's Scranton and Pittsburgh. Democrats have to be happy seeing that. Thank you to Elections Daily for posting that. I'm going to turn at this time and go back to the elections website that we've been using, which is Decision Desk HQ, and 38% of the vote is in. Dan McCaffrey, he's dropped below 60%. That's just natural. That's going to happen. No one's winning this race by 20 percentage points. No way. So I want to go and zoom in a little bit on Allegheny. Okay, so we have 80% of the vote here from them. Lackawanna, okay, yeah, there we go. 61% in Lackawanna, 71% of the vote counted. That's a very good sign for Dan McCaffrey. And now we'll scroll down a little bit here and go to the Commonwealth court race. Matt Wolf, 58%, Megan Martin, 41%. So, yeah, Dan McCaffrey running a little bit better than Matt Wolf statewide. Let's check out the Superior Court. Everything's pretty much holding on this Superior Court race. Jill Beck staying at 31. Tamika Lane, upper 20s. Maria Batista, she's hitting 20. Harry Smale Jr. not hitting 20. That race hasn't changed all that much. We're going to keep an eye on it. But the big thing, the big one here is the Supreme Court race. And we don't even have 40% of the vote in quite yet. So it's hard to make any determinations. I want to go now, though, and check in with Allegheny County, because we know that Allegheny County has a big race over there. 2 big races, to be exact. And WTAE is going to provide us with these results. Oh, my goodness. This is very interesting. Wow. Okay, so 71% of the vote is in. The Allegheny County executive side, Sarah Innamorato, the Democrat, leads it by 6 percentage points. I talked to you about 30 minutes ago. Sarah Innamorato was up by about 13%. So this lead was significantly cut in half. That's a result of more Election Day votes coming in, and Joseph Rocky clearly has done well on Election Day votes. So this is a close race. I would still give the edge to Sarah Innamorato. I'd still give the edge to the Democrat here, just based off of population alone and how many more Democrats are registered in Allegheny County. But we'll keep an eye on it. Too early to call. I'm not going to be able to make a call. I don't think anyone's making a call on that one quite yet, but it could happen. It could happen soon. Let's take a look at another race here. This is a very important one, the Allegheny County District Attorney race. Matt Dugan, the Democrat, facing Steve Zappala. Steve Zappala, he is the incumbent district attorney. He's actually sitting in the DA's office as we speak. Matt Dugan is a progressive challenger who defeated Zappala in the primary back in May. However, Steve Zappala got enough folks to write his name in on the Republican side to make it on the general election ticket. And take a look at that. It's less than 1,000 vote difference with 71% reporting. Too close to call, too early to call. And this one has nail biter written all over it. I would be very surprised if we know who wins this race tonight. I don't think that that's going to happen. It's incredibly close, less than 1,000 vote difference. We'll see if that switches, if Steve Zappala is able to get into first place in the next hour or so. We'll find out, but that is a race that you really want to keep your eyes on. Just so everyone knows at home, this is the Allegheny County District Attorney race. Matt Dugan on the left, Steve Zappala on the right, battling it out. The progressive challenger trying to take down the incumbent. And, the fact that Allegheny County may keep their DA, but he might be representing a different party. Pennsylvania politics. That's all I can say there. Okay, so taking another quick look at the judicial races in PA. That's what we're all here for. We'll take one more quick look to see if anything else has come in since we last spoke. Decision desk page still showing McCaffrey at 60. Not much of an update yet. Okay, wait a minute. We do have a little bit of an update on the Superior Court race. We do see the Republicans are gaining a little bit. Maria Batista, she's gained about 2 percentage points since I last checked. Still a substantial lead for Jill Beck and Tamika Lane. It's shrinking, but it's still a lead, and we're getting more of these counties coming in with votes. I want to point something out. Let's blow up this map real quick. This is showing us who's reported so far and who's not reported. So as you can see, most of Pennsylvania, when this is all said and done, a lot of this is going to be red. A lot, quite frankly, probably at least 80% of those gray counties that you see here, they're going to be red at the end of the night. Bright red. Tons of votes. For example, right here, that's Bedford County. Bedford County is the second most Republican county across Pennsylvania. I can tell you right now, the Republicans, they're going to get 80% of the votes. That's just the way it is. That's the way Bedford County votes. It's also the way that Fulton County votes. Okay? So Fulton County is 72% in, and as you can see, the Republicans are dominating the Democrats. So we cannot determine yet who's going to win this race when there are so many different counties that have not sent their votes in yet. None of the votes are even in for some of these counties. Way too early to tell what's going on. But we are able to gain insight by taking a look at how much of the vote is in and from where. Allegheny County, 73% in. So there's not too many more votes that are going to be out there for the Democrats to hold on to from Allegheny County. Philadelphia, that's going to be a huge Democrat stronghold. We know it is. Look at that. Tamika Lane, she's from that part of the state. 38% of the vote is in. She's doing great. Joe Beck's doing great. The Democrats are dominating in Philadelphia. I like the fact, from the Democratic perspective, that there's still over 60% of the vote that we're waiting on from Philadelphia. We know a substantial margin of that vote is going to be going to the Democrats. So that is something to feel good about if you're the Democrats. And we'll exit out there. Let's see if there's any bigger, I'm looking at Erie right here. Erie, 36% of the vote in. I need to see more vote there before I can make further determination, because we know Erie, that's also one of those bellwether counties. So this is not going to be the end result right here, these big 39, 33%. Some of the election day votes out of Erie County, they're going to come in here eventually, and it'll give us a better indication of what's going on. So, in terms of the Superior Court, these are the candidates who are running. Joe Beck, Tamika Lane, Maria Batista, and Harry Smale Jr. Those are the folks. And it's interesting because these Superior Court races, it's not like the Supreme Court where you have millions and millions of dollars being funneled into the races. And those are, it's more about grassroots politics and campaigning on the ground in small communities for these judges, which is a little weird if you think about these are the people who are going to be in court and doing the actual courtroom proceedings in front of the potential voters. But that's for another story. What we know now is that we have about a third of the vote in on all of these races. A little bit more of the vote is in on the Supreme Court side for whatever reason. And Dan McCaffrey still has a pretty strong lead there. So I'll update the results on the screen for you. And you know what? Wow, before I do that, let's take a look at Decision Desk HQ. I think that they may have... let me just check social media here and see if we have any update. We do have an update. This is a big update. And I'm going to try and pull this up here for all of you to see, because it's a historic update out of Allegheny County. There's an official projection from the Associated Press. Let's pull it up right now. And there you have it. The Associated Press, via Mark Levy, has reported that Democrat Sarah Innamorato has been elected executive of Allegheny County, Pennsylvania, the first woman to ever hold that position. Huge congratulations to Sarah. And this was the race that we're talking about. She was facing Joe Rockey, the Republican. A lot of talk a couple weeks ago at the fact that Joe Rockey was polling closer than Democrats were comfortable with. And we know now tonight that Sarah Innamorato has pushed all upset conversation aside in order to get the victory. Congratulations there. And now let's take a look at Elections Daily. I'm going to see real quick to see, do they have any update on their end? Okay, no updates from the Pennsylvania political side of things. In case you missed it, Philadelphia has elected their first female mayor, Cheryl Parker. She is the 100th mayor of Philadelphia. So congratulations to her. All right, let's take a look at let's go back to Allegheny County. Let's go back to Allegheny County before we take a break. Now that we know Sarah Innamorato has won, yep, there it is. WTAE has called it. Still no update on the Matt Dugan, Steve Zappala DA race. That's a very interesting one to watch. So we'll keep an eye on that. For now, we'll let the counties do their job and report all of the votes that they have now. It does take some time. So at this point, we'll just let them do their job. We will be right back. The votes will be updating on your screen live. So keep watching and keep tuning in. Thanks so much, everyone. Stay tuned. More votes coming ASAP. All right, everyone, I have to jump in because we have some breaking news. A lot of updates have just come in. Big ballot dumps, you could say. And it's important that I get the information to you as soon as possible. So I'm switching to a new site, which is the New York Times. They have an update that you need to hear. As you can see on your screen, this race has significantly tightened. And there it goes again. So Daniel McCaffrey and Carolyn Carluccio are now less than 10 percentage points apart. This is being updated as of right this moment, 10:07 p.m. 68% of the vote is in here in Pennsylvania for this Supreme Court seat. It's now getting very serious. And the vote's updated again on your screen just now. Daniel McCaffrey has 54.4% of the vote. Carolyn Carluccio, 45.6% of the vote. Just under 2 million votes are in. And this race is tighter. Let's take a look at the map over here and see what's going on, where the vote's at. So some of these rural counties, as you can see, Carolyn Carluccio is really running up the score and dominating the... Take a look. There's Fulton County, 81%, like I said earlier, dominating. Some of these blue counties, let's see what's going on here. Philadelphia, still a lot of vote left in Philadelphia. That's good news for Dan McCaffrey. Montgomery County, that's a big blue county. 49% of the vote in. Lots of Democratic votes still out there in the southeastern part of the state. Chester County as well. And it looks like we just got some votes from Lancaster, and Lancaster has given Carolyn Carluccio 60% of the vote, so that's helpful for Carolyn Carluccio. Let's take a look at what's happening in Westmoreland County. Okay, Carolyn Carluccio winning in Westmoreland County, but look, all of the votes are in. There's nothing left to get in that county for Carolyn Carluccio. So where else can she make up these votes in the other parts of the state? Well, Erie, 50% is in, and it's going Dan McCaffrey's way. Big positive there for the Democrats. See some of these areas of the state here, right? Mercer County, smaller county. Not a ton of votes there, but Carolyn Carluccio is going to get a few more from a county like Crawford, right? Or if we go over here to Susquehanna County, she'll get a couple more there. But how is Carolyn Carluccio going to compete against something like this, where there's still so many votes left from Philadelphia that need to be counted? The bellwether county of Center County, here it is, 53% of the vote going to Dan McCaffrey. When you look at a county like Center, and it's going your way, I'm not going to say as goes the state, but it's a promising sign for Dan McCaffrey. That's all I will say at this point in time. Take a look at some of these counties like Luzerne, for instance. There's another bellwether county. Dan McCaffrey's leading right now by 2 percentage points. That's a big deal. Northampton County, Dan McCaffrey, 14% up. Good sign there. Bucks County. Bucks County is becoming a little bit more red as of late. 50% of the vote coming in for Dan McCaffrey. We don't know what's mail-in. We don't know what's election day. But things are getting serious. Things are getting to the point where we will know a winner one way or the other soon enough. 70% of the vote is now in for the Supreme Court race, and there it is. Exactly 8 percentage points is separating Dan McCaffrey and Carolyn Carluccio. 8 percentage points. 70% of the vote is in. There's the size of the lead. So you can see McCaffrey dominating the Democratic strongholds. The New York Times website not doing a very good job at showing us the other races. But we do see here the Commonwealth Court, Matt Wolf, 53%, Megan Martin, 47%. 71% of the vote is in, and that is a tighter race than Dan McCaffrey. So suddenly Matt Wolf is now trailing behind Dan McCaffrey. We'll keep an eye on that. Let's see if I can find any more up-to-date information out there. Let's see. I'll go to the Pennsylvania election website. Okay. I'll pull up the Pennsylvania election website at this time and show you what's going on there. Checking messages. Seeing if there's anything coming out from other parts of the state. All right, here's the Pennsylvania election website. Here's that Superior Court race. This is giving us a better indication of what's going on. So Jill Beck closing in on 1 million votes. 1 million votes there for Jill Beck. 29% of the vote. Tamika Lane, her fellow Democrat, at 26%. Maria Batista is the closest Republican challenger at 22%. And let's see, 968. One second, I'm just doing some cross-referencing. 1042. Okay. I'm going to head back now to the Decision Desk website. That one seems to be giving us the most up-to-date information right now. So let's go back to Decision Desk. There you have Dan McCaffrey, 54.8 to Carolyn Carluccio's 45.1. Pardon the free advertisement for Disney there. Pennsylvania Commonwealth Court, Matt Wolf, 54. Megan Martin, 45.9, just about 46. And then there's the updated Superior Court. Okay. Maria Batista of the Republican Party, as we can see there, is starting to grow. 23.2. Getting closer to Tamika Lane's 25.9, with Decision Desk says 53% of the vote in. So we'll see how accurate that is, because that number is critical. How much vote is left? That tells us just about everything we need to know. Allegheny County, 82% in. Philadelphia, 50% in. Westmoreland, 72% in. These are places that have a lot of sway in these sorts of elections. So somewhere like Bradford County, they haven't actually given their election day results yet. They've only given their mail-in ballots, as you can see on screen. Will it make much of a difference? Not quite. There's not many people there in Bradford. Not many votes are coming in from Bradford. However, every vote does count. And if it's within a couple of thousand votes, then a county like Bradford and those election day votes, we need to have them, because they're going to be critical in determining who wins this election. All right, so we are going to continue to wait on that and see if any more votes come in. We'll keep an eye on it. Let's go to Allegheny County. That's the contested district attorney's race, which is causing lots of buzz for people. Wow, there it is. Allegheny County District Attorney race. Steve Zappala, the incumbent, has taken the lead over Matt Dugan, the progressive Democratic nominee. A race that has pitted a newcomer against a longtime incumbent, forcing the voters to decide whether to keep the person that they have, even though he's no longer representing their party, or go for the individual who wanted more progressive change in Matt Dugan. 4,000 vote difference right now. Steve Zappala leads Matt Dugan. 86% reporting. That's getting close to the wire. And let's take a look at this time to see if there's anything else coming from Twitter. Nothing yet. Okay, so big things coming there from Allegheny County. We'll keep an eye on that for anyone out there who's interested. And if anybody has any questions about their particular county, if you want to zoom in on anything, I'd be happy to do that as well. And you can always leave comments, and I'll put them on screen if you have anything you want to add. So about 60% of the vote is in. Another vote dump. Dan McCaffrey still holding on strong with his 54% of the vote. Matt Wolf as well, still holding strong. And at the Superior Court level, things still looking good there for the Democrats. Okay, we'll let some more votes come in, and then I'll be back to discuss what's going on. For now, too early to call, but stay tuned. Thanks so much. Hey everyone, welcome back. Arc of Justice PA here, and I'm Jordan Roan, and we have an update for you. I'll be switching over to a new election result site at this time to let you know that this race, the Supreme Court race, getting tighter and tighter, with 74% of the vote reporting according to this website. Dan McCaffrey at 54% of the vote. Carolyn Carluccio, 46% of the vote. So we still have the 8-point difference. Dan McCaffrey leads by 8 points. More of the vote coming in. It's just a matter of when we'll be able to actually call it. When will enough votes be in that the experts out there will be able to make the call? And I'll let them do that because things are very close. Here's the Superior Court judge race. Sorry about the advertisement there, but the Superior Court judge race. Jill Beck, 28%, almost 29%. Tamika Lane, 25%, going on 26%. Maria Batista, that's the Republican who's trying to... It looks like Maria Batista all night long has been leading Harry Smale Jr. So if you're the Republicans, your best bet is likely going to be with Maria Batista. She is closing in on Tamika Lane, but still Tamika Lane holds that 2.5 percentage point lead. So things are looking good if you're the Democrats in all of these judicial races. I don't see any massive red flag yet to tell me that we should be worrying from the Democratic side. Matt Wolf here, 76% of the vote is in. He's probably the Democrat who you could say, quote unquote, is struggling the most. He has a smaller lead, about a 5-point lead on Megan Martin, which is definitely it's a lot closer than Judge Dan McCaffrey's races, I should say. So Matt Wolf is trailing Judge Dan McCaffrey, and we'll keep an eye on that to see what happens. If there's any race that's going to go the Republicans' way, it's starting to look like we might be seeing a Matt Wolf or losing to Megan Martin. It's too early to say, but we'll keep an eye on the trends. So let's take a look now at Allegheny County. Allegheny County is where we have the big district attorney race out there, the unusual district attorney race. Looks like it's still 4,000 vote difference, nothing in quite yet for us to make any sort of determination. Steve Zappala leads over Matt Dugan, the incumbent district attorney Steve Zappala, against the progressive challenger Matt Dugan, who won the Democratic primary back in May. So, with that, I will continue to monitor the votes that are taking place in Pennsylvania to see what else is coming up, what other counties are reporting. Let's take a look at Decision Desk. And Decision Desk has pretty much all the same information. So nothing of significance to note. Everything remains pretty much the same. We do have a report out of Mississippi for those who might be interested in what's going on across the nation. Dave Wasserman has tweeted out that Tate Reeves, Republican, has defeated Brandon Presley, who's a second cousin of Elvis Presley, the Democrat, in the Mississippi governor's race. So incumbent Tate Reeves, who's been dealing with some controversy, I should say, as of late, he will win re-election. But the good news across Pennsylvania is two strong women have won elections to lead two different parts of the state. Cheryl Parker winning the mayoral race in Philadelphia. Sarah Innamorato has won the Allegheny County executive race, which is huge, and a lot of work went into getting both of them across the finish line, starting with themselves. I'll take a quick break and be right back with more coverage of election night in Pennsylvania. We'll leave the results on screen for you to watch. Welcome back, everyone. Jordan Roan here with Arc of Justice PA, and I have an update for you on the judicial races across Pennsylvania taking place today, November 7th, 2023. And the numbers at the bottom of your screen on the ticker, those are accurate and up to date as of this very minute, 10:40 p.m. The clock continues to tick, which means we continue to get closer to finding out who these winners are. And Joseph Wolfson, we'll start off with your comment first. Could go either way with the state Supreme Court. My prediction is a lot of split voters who vote for both parties. And Joseph, you're absolutely, positively correct. And I had on screen earlier, I'm not sure who else saw it earlier, but I cut together a list of all the past judicial elections since 2017. And on every single one of them, you will find that there were split winners. Republicans and Democrats have split essentially even since 2017 on these judicial races. So when it's all said and done, which probably won't even be tonight because of an election like that on your screen, which is so close, a split would not be out of the question. And I think you hit the nail on the head there. I want to talk about this race on screen right now. It's the Superior Court race. This one has 4 candidates, and 2 will take this seat on the bench. And this is the closest one at this hour. Superior Court. Tamika Lane leads Maria Batista by 1.19%. 1.19%. And let's just do a little quick refresh. That's actually dropped now. It's 1.17%. So the Tamika Lane lead over Maria Batista continues to shrink. And there you have it. It just updated again. Lots of votes are now starting to pour in. So the math is kind of being done on the fly. Okay, that lead is now down to 1.04%. Tamika Lane leads Maria Batista by just 1.04. Decision Desk HQ estimates that 65% of the vote is in. So if we're seeing that drastic shrinking of a lead, Maria Batista should be feeling pretty good right now about her trajectory over the last several minutes. So I'll update that for you at the bottom of your screen there. Let's take a look at the other races to see, since we've got more vote dumps, has anything else changed? All right, there's the Supreme Court race. 46.93. So Dan McCaffrey's lead is now down to 6.14%. Still a comfortable lead with over 70% of the vote in. That is something that is favorable for the Democrats. What are we looking at, though, in terms of where the votes are? Okay, there you go. Allegheny County, 100% reporting. Dan McCaffrey wins almost 2/3 of the vote. Pittsburgh has nothing left to offer for Dan McCaffrey. Philadelphia, 2/3 of the vote in for Philly. That means you still have a third out there. I would say good news for Dan McCaffrey. What about the suburbs of Philly? Montgomery, only 55% reporting. And by the way, Caroline Carluccio, that's where she's from. So that's a very interesting number there. 55%. Still more votes in the Philadelphia suburbs. And I feel like the Philadelphia suburbs might just be what saves Dan McCaffrey. No projection yet, but keep an eye on that area of the state because things are looking pretty good for him there. What are we looking at for Commonwealth Court? Okay, let's do the numbers again since they last updated. .56. Okay, so that lead for Matt Wolf also dropped a bit. So Dan McCaffrey leads by over 6 points. Matt Wolf leads by about 4.5 points. So there is a discrepancy there. And as Joseph Wolfson commented on screen earlier, there's going to be splits. And I'm not in panic mode, I don't think, right now if I'm Matt Wolf, because you have 70% of the vote in, you're leading by 4.5 points. That's a good thing. We still know that there's a lot of the Philadelphia suburb vote that is yet to come in. That's a good sign. I think the real concern right now for the Democrats would be lying right here in that Superior Court race, where Tamika Lane and Maria Batista are kind of battling it out for that second seat on the bench. Hey, Jeannie, thank you so much for your comment. I appreciate you doing this, Jordan. Thank you so much for that. And thanks for tuning in on Facebook. I'm glad you found it there, and give the page a like. And if you're on Twitter, give me a follow. This is being streamed on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. I guess it's no longer called Twitter, it's X. But regardless, we're out there, and I appreciate you tuning in. So that's what we have for right now. Keeping an eye on the race, keeping an eye on Tamika Lane and Maria Batista. Still a 1.04% lead. I will say Jill Beck, knock on wood, but Judge Jill has a good ring to it. And that's all that I will say at this hour at 10:46 p.m. So I'm just checking some other sites right now to make sure that we have all the most up-to-date information. I don't go with just one site. I'm always making sure that I am surfing the web and okay. I think we have the most up-to-date information at this time. Pat Kennedy has a comment. CNN projects Ohio voters approve the legalization of recreational marijuana in the state for adults 21 and older. Why not Pennsylvania, Pat writes. And that's a good question, Pat. And I think it's a good question to give to our governor, Josh Shapiro. I think that's something that, and I don't want to speak for him, but I think it's something he discussed on the campaign trail. He might have been open to it. But of course, hands are always tied when you have the folks in Harrisburg who are staunchly against recreational marijuana. But kudos to the Ohio voters for doing that. And yeah, it should be put on the ballot. I think that does make sense. It will have to go through a long process. And like I said, we know who would be holding that up, and it's not the Democrats. But thanks for pointing that out, Pat. That's one thing. I haven't really been watching too much CNN to find out what's going on in the country. I do know Andy Beshear won Kentucky, the Kentucky governor's race, incumbent Andy Beshear, and that's a big win for the country because Andy Beshear, he's done a great job down there in Kentucky. So he defeats the Republican there, the Attorney General, and the folks in Kentucky will move on with their Democratic governor. Isn't that something? Kentucky. It's amazing. All right, we'll take a quick break. I'll update the results at the bottom of your screen. And, of course, I will continue to be showing you live results as they come in. Election night in Pennsylvania, just like the Super Bowl for folks who love politics. This is great. Continue to send in your comments, and we can discuss and have a dialogue on screen. All in good fun. Okay, everyone. We'll be right back in a quick second. Well, folks, we have some breaking news, and it's news that I think everyone will want to hear at 10:55 p.m. in Pennsylvania. We're taking you straight to the New York Times for this. As you can see, Dan McCaffrey has been elected the next Supreme Court Justice on the Pennsylvania Supreme Court. This has been called by the New York Times just now. Our great YouTube viewer, Floydian022, tipped us off. The New York Times just called it for McCaffrey, and that is correct. Let's zoom in on it right here. Dan McCaffrey has the check mark, 52.7% of the vote. And as we know, enough of the vote has come in. 92% of it has come in. And it's over, folks. Dan McCaffrey has won, and he will go from the Superior Court to the Supreme Court. Congratulations to Dan McCaffrey. Congratulations to everyone across the Commonwealth who did so much to get him elected, his entire staff, team, and everyone with the Pennsylvania Democrats and all the local Democratic parties and coalitions as well. That's fantastic news, and I think it deserves a special banner. All right, there it is. Breaking news. Dan McCaffrey wins the Supreme Court election. Fantastic. Congratulations. Okay, that's amazing. Now the question is, what do the other races look like? And can we pull off a clean sweep? It looks like the Commonwealth Court race is getting closer. Let's see if we have any updated numbers for that race. All right, we'll take you now back to the Decision Desk HQ. All right, there we go. All right, so we know the Supreme Court the Supreme Court race has been called. Let's take a look at the Superior Court. Oh boy. Let's pull out the handy-dandy calculator and let's see what's going on here. Our closest race by far. Wow. The lead has shrunk. Tamika Lane now leads Maria Batista by 0.94. 0.94. Maria Batista is slowly gaining ground. Not sure how much of the vote is still outstanding. We know Decision Desk HQ says 69%. And if it is 69%, then that would be a problem for Tamika Lane. If it's closer to 90%, like the Supreme Court is, then there's no reason to panic. So we'll continue to watch that and follow that as we near 2 hours of live programming from Arc of Justice. So glad to be with you all here tonight on this exciting election night in Pennsylvania. 1 year away from the big 2024 presidential race, which will keep us all awake at night for the next 363 days, to be exact. So I'm just scrolling through here's some of the retention votes, by the way. Looks like both of the judges on the Superior Court will be retained, as expected. The New York Times has not called any of the other races, although things do look good for Matt Wolf. It looks like his lead is now 4%. I think Matt Wolf's holding his ground, which is a good thing. And yeah, time will tell what exactly will happen with this Commonwealth Court and Superior Court race. And while we are on the breaking news train, let's go to Allegheny County, where we will be able to make a major announcement. There you have it. In Allegheny County, Matt Dugan, the progressive, who won the Democratic nomination in May, shocking many people across the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Well, he came up short tonight. He has lost officially. It has been called. Matt Dugan loses to the incumbent district attorney, Steve Zappala, who was a Democrat his entire career and got written in as a Republican, and now he actually has won it in a very shocking series of events. We just got so that race is called Allegheny County. We have nothing left to do with them, and we will exit the screen and we will go back to our election results. But I just got a notification right now from Jillian McGoldrick. She has been covering this race all night long, the Supreme Court race, and she just sent out a tweet which reads, "Very poorly timed remarks at Carolyn Carluccio's campaign party because the race was just called a few minutes afterwards. Dan McCaffrey has won the open seat on the Pennsylvania Supreme Court, per the AP." So what she's referring to there is the fact that some of these candidates started coming out having press conferences saying that it was too early to call until, of course, it got called. So that's where we stand 2 hours into this live stream. It appears as though we will not have an answer tonight on the Superior Court race. As you can see there, it's less than a point difference between Tamika Lane and Maria Batista. I'm willing to go on the record and say that Jill Beck will be a Superior Court judge. Congratulations to Jill Beck. I'll make the projection. And Tamika Lane fighting, holding her ground. No projection can be made yet, but hopefully within the next day, we will have a clear answer there. And final thoughts on the Commonwealth Court race, Matt Wolf and Megan Martin. A lot of the votes been in. I don't see any official projection by the New York Times yet, but it looks like 93% of the vote is in, and Matt Wolf still leads by 4 percentage points. I don't know if I should do it or not. I'll do it. I think it's safe to say that Matt Wolf will defeat Megan Martin, and he will be sitting on the Commonwealth Court of Pennsylvania, which allows us to conclude our night by saying it was a great night for Democrats in Pennsylvania. A really great night for Democrats in Pennsylvania. It looks like it's going to either be a clean sweep or kind of the opposite of 2021, just 2 years ago when Democrats got pounded. They lost 3 of 4 judicial seats. But this time, things are different. And let's just hope that we can continue the strides that we made as a Democratic Party into 2024, where everything will be on the line. And you can follow Arc of Justice PA across all social media platforms. Just press on our profile right now, and you'll be able to stay up to date on everything that will be coming down the pipeline. I'm Jordan Roan. Thanks so much, everyone, for tuning in. Thanks so much for watching. It's been an honor to speak with you tonight, to talk with you, and I hope you continue to fight the good fight out there and continue voting and making your voice heard. Have a wonderful night. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for the comments, everyone. Good night in Pennsylvania. Take care.